Hey, 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 hello, hello, beautiful people. It is January, early January. Where are you in this world? And where are you with your year, your momentum, your challenges, your successes, your wins? What is going on in your world? It's such an exciting time. The beginning of every month to me is like a beginning of every year because that's the intention and the energy I bring to it. This is exactly why I don't really support or work around the New Year's resolution things. I do plan out each year with some expectations and some intentions. But yeah, it's more of like, how do you have a successful year and hit goals and achieve experiences that are on your lists? And honestly, it's 1 month at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute, 1 second. You can keep breaking it down to where it's just ease and flow and fun, and you take all that resistance out, which is what allows us to receive more in life, right? When we know what we want and we're clear and confident and we have the courage to go after it, anything and everything is possible and you can live out to your fullest potential. So today we're talking about piece of the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The piece in particular that I'm pulling out to dissect today is the 30 major causes of failure. The 30 major causes of failure. There's so much out there about success and what to do to succeed. And I'm a huge proponent of supporting that and knowing that. And most importantly, not just knowing, but practicing that, but also understanding other people's failures or components of failure is also a key to success, right? So there's 30 of these that are listed out in the book, but I'm going to focus on 11. Ironically, there's 11 of them that actually match what I do as a coach, as a performance coach, used to be performance coach, now potential coach. And thank you for all the love and welcome, welcome. So this will also be recorded as a podcast. Actually, I need to make sure this is being recorded on Courageous and Free with Jacqueline Mack over on iTunes. Go check it out. There's a whole year's worth, 31 episodes from last year. You can go dive into. Some are 11 minutes long, some are 20 minutes long. But there are lots of great nuggets to live out real freedom from the things that are holding you back in life, and freedom to do and be and experience the things you desire, like you truly want in your heart of hearts. So let's dive into this. So we talk about the 30 major causes of failure. And some people are like, I don't want to know because I've already probably done them all. And it's like, well, if you have, did you overcome it? Are you keeping the cycle of repeating? Because we are a product of our own habits. How you do anything is how we do everything. If you think about it, you can look at one person and see how they live in one area of their life, and most directly or indirectly, they're going to be doing the same thing in other areas or other facets of their life. So how we do or be in anything is how we do or be in everything. So the one that I want to talk about first, this isn't the first one. The first one is unfavorable hereditary background. And this one is tricky because it's probably one of the top 30 causes of failure that isn't easily corrected. When you have a hereditary DNA, physical, mental, emotional component that is really wrapped around how you live every day, for example, missing a limb and or anything. You can list so many different things out there that people can be challenged by. That is a hereditary DNA background. It doesn't mean it can't be overcome or it can't be corrected. It just is one of the hardest when you look at the list of 30 causes of failure. So that's not my background, except in some cases, which I'm not going to go into in this segment, but Where I like to shine my genius is, and number 2, which is a lack of well-defined purpose in life. Having clarity and the courage to go after will build the confidence in what you desire. So in order to reach one level of success and the next level of success, because what happens is we get comfortable in good life, and we know the enemy of good going to great is the good. Staying comfortable in the good, because the mind likes to keep us safe, and the good is just good enough. So why go further when life is good? And yet, if the enemy of great is good, and yet our brains are wired to keep us safe in the familiar, just being aware and recognizing that can start to snap you out of that pattern. The third one is lack of ambition and aim above mediocrity. This is where, again, I take my clients through a process where they get in this rut of, I could never be that successful. And it's like, you get to be whatever you decide and what you declare. And so that ambition and aiming above mediocrity, and that line of mediocrity changes from level to level as you level up to each level of success, which is why most of the time the people I'm working with are already very successful in their careers and their businesses and their relationships and the venture that they're having in this world and their finances, and yet they feel stuck. And yes, they can't. I mean, you can look at other bazillionaires and millionaires, especially in the celebrity area with Kate Spade and other influences out there, that their lives ended too soon. They're very successful individuals, but yet there was something either not well defined in their purpose or something not well defined in their ambition that caused them to want to check out too soon, in my opinion. And number 4 is insufficient education. Number 5 is lack of self-discipline. This is another area I can break this down very simply, and it is self-discipline. Discipline is a word that a lot of people have a very negative feel with. I love the word discipline, because when we can be disciplined in things that feel good to us, that are aligned to who we are and allow us to expand into our highest version, that's fun, that's living, that's freedom. But most don't teach that piece, right? So when you have an abundance, an overflow of self-discipline, and it feels good, life just is easier. Life is almost automatic and almost like you're the lucky one, which you are. You're creating your own luck when you're in this state. Number 6 is ill health. And this used to be where I used to spend a lot of my time. When I was a performance health coach, I spent a lot of time in this area, but I kind of have pulled away from that. I can't pull completely away from it, because your body is our temple, is our only vessel, as we are spiritual beings having this human experience. But it is a piece that is still very important to understand. But my practices of human potential are more in the spiritual, mental, emotional components. And of course, the physical is also part of that as well. But it's a byproduct, I believe, of the spiritual, mental, emotional, what we manifest, and the physical, and how that can be, again, favorable or unfavorable. Now, number 7 is unfavorable environmental influences during childhood. We have things happen to us when we're children, and yet some of us allow it to define who we are, like a parent saying you're a dummy, or you can't do that, or blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blank. It could be a mental, emotional, or physical environmental influence. And yet, I believe Tony Robbins said this, you can't drive looking in the rearview mirror or you'll crash, right? So things will happen for us, yet we get to choose if we define who we are versus just where we are. I like to say it's just where we are. It's just where you are right now. And things will pop up again. Things you thought you've healed will pop up again. So how do you manage that? How are you aware of that? I have a whole component called my AAA method, which my clients get to use all the time. And if you want access to that, I'm happy to give that away for free, because it's super powerful and you can literally pivot from a very low energetic state of stuckness to being free from whatever that is triggering you, or you got yourself into any type of challenge, any type of circumstance, and not being a victim to that. Now, number 8 is procrastination. I'm a recovering people pleaser, type A personality, and procrastinator, because I thought my best work came out of my procrastination. So I help people in this area, because when you actually don't take action and you keep putting things off, it's usually rooted in something deeper. Procrastination is usually a byproduct of something way deeper than what it is, but we like to label that and move on. Number 9 is lack of persistence. This kind of goes hand in hand with the procrastination. Consistency, and consistency, how that is the name of the game in anything. You want to have more courage, you want to have more confidence, you have more clarity, you want to have more money, you want to have more love, more adventure, more freedom. Consistency and doing the things that feel good. Consistency is something that a lot of people don't link to the discipline, but really it piggybacks each other so easily. And then number 10 is negative personality. Negative personalities. I used to repel negative people. Now I embrace them and love them, as long as they are willing to learn, evolve, and grow. If not, it's kind of like helping a victim who says they want the help but isn't willing to do the work. It's just oil and water. It doesn't mix. It just doesn't work well until that person is ready to come out of that. And plus, the most attractive personality is a positive personality. That's the magnetic personality when it comes to bringing in the experiences you're desiring, to live that life, to have that successful business, to attract that partnership, whether it's in business or your personal life, to raise children, to lead, to teach, to evolve. Number 11 is lack of controlled sexual urge. This is not my area of expertise. I haven't had that like uncontrollable piece as far as my experiences, but I have had clients that say that the sex is the most powerful stimuli for them, and the action and or addiction to that, and how you overcome those things so that it doesn't hinder your success. Number 12 is uncontrolled desire for something for nothing, that exchange that constantly is that gambling instinct. And then number 13, this is one of my areas of expertise as well, is the lack of well-defined power of decision, being a master decision maker. If you really look back at 2022, at all the things you're proud of, all the wins that you've had, and then you look at your struggles and your challenges and things you didn't get to check off your list, when you boil it all down to the nitty-gritty rooted details, it's were you in your power when making the decision to experience it or not to go forward and embrace it, whether it's taking a risk or it was super simple and easy and fantastic, or you were scared out of your mind and a fear or a lack or a limiting belief literally held you back from going into your power and making a decision. And decision making really boils down to this. If you want the secret of all decision making, and the simple formula is, if it feels good and it's a heck yes, it's a heck yes. If you hesitate, it's a no. And it could be a no now forever, or it can be a no, this is just not where my priorities are, and let it go. Don't justify it, and let it go. So that is one area when we talk about simplifying your life and really bringing in what you truly want and desire. Being a master decision maker and standing in your power is a huge piece of that, and your success in any facet of your life. Number 14 is one or more of the 6 basic fears. False evidence appearing real. Fear. False evidence appearing real. It's not real. You could probably look at all the things you fear in life, and somebody's overcame it. Somebody's already done it, and they did it without fear. So if you want to know what those 6 basic fears are, this is something I work with my clients as well. It's fear of poverty, fear of criticism, ill health, loss of love from someone else, fear of old age, which a good one on that, if you haven't watched it yet, is The Limitless on the Disney app. So good. That last episode is around the old age piece of it. So good. And then fear of death. Secret, wake up call. We all are going to die one day, right? I've experienced a lot of trauma, a lot of death early on in my life. And it really took me down early on in my life. And now I've been able to thrive, I guess is the best way to put it, because the grieving process never ends. It cycles. And there's no correct or perfect way to grieve. It's just acknowledging your feelings is key, and to allow yourself to grieve, right? So fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love or of someone, fear of old age, and fear of death. So one or more of those 6 basic fears can totally stop someone from reaching their success and or creating massive failures in their life and quitting. That's really the only way you can fail at anything in life, is quitting. The rest is just feedback, and you keep going. Number 15 is wrong selection of mate and marriage. Number 16 is over caution. We don't want to be super reckless, but most of us are too cautious. Not my 5-year-old. She's very, very adventurous. My husband's the same. They're constantly getting banged up and beat up. But I love that about them. I love that because overcaution can cause failure like this. And it can do it in a way that you're blind to it because you're like, oh no, I can't invest that money. It's not safe. But it feels aligned to you, and you know with your heart of hearts that it's the next thing for you because it feels good and it feels abundant. It's not from scarcity. It's not from lack. It's not like, this is my last ditch effort and this is all my life savings. That's the wrong energy, right? But being overly cautious will quickly throw you out of balance and throw you into a state that won't fulfill. Now, 17 is wrong selection of associates in business. This is huge. I've been pretty lucky to dodge this one a few times, but I will admit that's one of my things I'm overcoming this year, is just going ahead and not being overly cautious and just hiring people, just going with the flow of it, having the SOPs in place and creating an environment where my partnerships and my employees don't and won't want to leave. Like, that's key too. Number 16 is superstition and prejudiceness. And how does that show up? And that shows that, me personally, I think that's a form of ignorance, right? So don't let that be the reason for your failure. That's just blasphemy. And number 19, wrong selections of vocation or work in this world. I have changed my jobs multiple times. I have picked up contracts and left others. I've worked other contracts in my 1099 years for multiple years, and some just for short months. When you are in the zone of knowing what it means to be aware and live in alignment, you can't choose the wrong vocation. You just can't. One might be a stepping stone, another one might be a chapter, and embracing that and knowing that's just the way that it is, and it's okay and it's good. And do your life your way. That's what freedom is really all about, right? Courageous and Free, the podcast, is really to live the most rich and abundant life your way, not stuck in a box because somebody said to do it this way, or there's 20 books on this saying you have to do it that way. I don't believe so. I believe that you were put here for a definite purpose. And if you desire something, it's in you, it's for you. And why can't you do it your way? Is it one of these 30 reasons why you can't do it your way? Because you can totally overcome any single one of these. Some are going to be harder than others, but you can totally overcome. You have the potential to do that. Every single one of us has the potential to do that. Number 20 is lack of concentration and effort. I help others in this area as well, because if you're a specialist in your field and you really are honing in on your mastery, this shouldn't be a lot of effort to do so, right? 21 is the habit of indiscrimination, spending, and knowing the difference between a business budget, a personal budget, an investment budget, and having all your buckets and depositing in those every single time money's flowing in, even if it's not what you want it to be yet, even if you're not bringing in 100,000 a year or 100,000 a month or $1 million or 5 million, whatever that magic number is, still depositing as if it's already happening. That's a hack right there, because you're already being the way that you want to be and show up as before it even happens. It will happen so much quicker, but there is a recklessness to that. That's why it says indiscriminate spending. It becomes a habit. How you do everything or anything, how you do anything is how we do everything. 22 is lack of enthusiasm. This is easy for me because I love life and I love helping people break through. Like, that's my genius I'm like the best friend you wish you had many years ago, but your old self wishes you never had met, to be honest. So making sure that enthusiasm is not just a thing that you do when, but it's your own style of enthusiasm. And it's something that just really just boils down to feeling good, because, you know, there's people that are overly ecstatic and that's just their personality. And there's people that are super under ecstatic, but they still have enthusiasm and a love for their craft. 23 is intolerance. 24 is intemperance. And Napoleon Hill states that if you overindulge in things like food, sex, or drinking, it could be truly fatal to your success. Again, none of these things have really hindered my experiences, but yet they've hindered my clients' experiences. So indirectly, I've experienced that through my clients. 25 is inability to cooperate with others, which if you have that component, God bless you. No, I'm just kidding. There is a way to overcome that. There is a way to overcome that, but you have to be aware, like own it and be like, yeah, that's me. And don't just put your blinders on and be like, well, it's why I'm successful, because I can just solo fly and do this thing my way, myself, without anybody else, which again, life is to be done with people. 26 is possession of power that was not acquired through self-effort. 27 is intentional dishonesty. 27 is intentional dishonesty. So when you're trying to move up in life, your word is everything. I always say it's one of the 4 core values that I live from with the 4 agreements, which is honor my word, make no assumptions, take nothing personally, and be my best every day. Those are the 4 non-negotiables that I live by with everything that I do, say, speak, live, meet with people. Before I meet with people who I decide that gets my time and gets to meet with me, whether they pay me or not, etc. 28 is egotism and vanity. And yes, I've seen this crash and burn. Not only clients that I've worked with, and they were coming out of that season, but I've worked for people who've had this as well. And they've checked themselves prior to allowing it to wreck their business, which is good, or obviously I wouldn't have been working with them for as long as I have a few times past. So 29 is guessing instead of thinking. Guessing instead of thinking. And I also want to add to this is the feeling, because our thoughts can be limited, our beliefs can be limited, but when we feel into something, that cannot steer us wrong. It's like our feelings are our emotional guidance system, our GPS of our soul, and it's our GPS of our highest self. So that's one area that I work with my clients to trust that more and more, so that the thinking and overthinking and overwhelming and anxiety becomes a thing of the past. Number 30, is lack of capital. Especially when starting a business, there has to be some wiggle room for mistakes. Mistakes are mistakes in life. Our feedbacks, the things we tried, things we invest into. So those are the top 30 from the book Think and Grow Rich. And the ones that I work with specifically on helping my clients, I do one-on-one coaching, mentorship. I also run small masterminds. And obviously I give away a lot of generous free information away here on my podcast, Courageous and Free with Jacqueline Mack. But any thoughts or ideas, or you want to go deeper with any of these 30, just go grab the book. If you haven't read it already, it should be a book on your list every single year. It's one that I practice through every single year, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And honestly, that most people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure or feedback. And that was one of the quotes Napoleon Hill had in the book as well. So sending you away with so much love. Now that you know this, what are you going to do with the knowledge? Knowledge is pure entertainment unless you do something with it. Are you going to save this? Or are you going to go back? Are you going to listen? Are you going to write down a few? Are you going to be like, whoo, that resonates with me. How do I unpack this? Because again, knowledge is pure entertainment until you apply it, and then it can actually move mountains for you. So sending you away with so much love. Until next time, bye for now.